welcome to Kate's Holistic Healing, your interactive show where we walk you through various holistic practices to improve your spiritual, emotional, and physical self. Today, very happy to have Laura Rose as my guest. She's a certified holistic health coach. And why don't you tell us, to start with, what is a holistic health coach?
I can do that, Kate. A holistic health coach is a supportive mentor and a wellness authority that assists clients who want to feel their best with a change in food and lifestyle.
How does that differ from a dietitian?
Sure. Well, a dietitian and a health coach fall under the same umbrella, under the umbrella of a nutritionist.
Okay.
It's not a regulated word here in America and in Canada. So as under that umbrella of nutritionist, a registered dietitian is someone who's licensed with the American Dietary Association, the ADA, and their primary food model is just one, which is the American Food Pyramid. As a holistic health coach, I am certified by the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, and I'm very proud to be one of the first classes, to be a student in one of the first classes by Joshua Rosenthal, who at this time is the founder of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition.
Wow.
Which is now registered as the largest nutritional school in the world.
It's just amazing. But tell us, what role does it play in this? I mean, because we've had a lot of people doing holistic events, and maybe it's not as familiar as meditation, the hypnosis, the Tai Chi. So what is it exactly? I mean, what role do you play in the whole healthcare system?
Well, doctors and physicians, for the most part, they contribute to healthy living, and they use diagnosis with the model of the medical model, where they'll use pharmaceuticals and surgery as their way to heal.
Yeah.
Whether or not they want to or not, they simply just don't have the time or the resources to do what I do, which is I spend time with a client on their day-to-day activity and on their routines and their food and their diet to help make those changes to make them be at their best.
Wow, so you walk through their entire day with them and then give them suggestions about...
I do that, but it's more than that, and I'm going to tell you a lot more about that. It's the void I feel. It's speaking about them as a person, as a whole person, and not just as a diagnosis.
Very interesting, because the problem with medicine today is they treat you as a body part.
Very true.
And you're right. Can you give us any examples of a client's success stories?
Sure. I had a female client who came into me. She had, most people come in with an ailment of some sort, because that's what leads them to their journey, to find a holistic health coach. So a female client I had severe constipation. She was having maybe one bowel movement a week. I've had clients who've had one every 2 weeks. In this case, as we met during our meetings, it became apparent to both of us that she had a very difficult time in expressing herself, in speaking her voice. And so like her mannerism was, her body did the same thing. It held everything in. So once we found activities for her that helped her express her confidence and express her voice, in addition and in coordination with foods that smoothed and soothed her body rather than agitated them,
wow.
we got her to a point where not only was she having bowel movements on a regular basis, but she smiled more. She was happy, and the confidence that she felt in herself to really understand that she deserved to be healthy.
Good for her. So much of it, don't you find, is changing the mindset of the client, and to have them look at, it's not a problem, it's an issue, it can be changed. Well, that's great.
Well, on that, our food, one of the problems that we have is our food choices today are so vast. I mean, a lot of places don't have that problem, but here in America we do. And the problem for us is it's confusing. There's so much wording that we actually find that things contradict each other. So just to give you an example, some of the things that, as I said, the clients come in with certain ailments, but they also have, and they've led it onto a certain road, questions come up. So I want to actually share with you some of the just questions that you and I even had, not only even myself on my journey, we have, and these are the kind of things. So I have a little map, a little thing here.
Wonderful.
So just some questions are, what does it mean when a vegetable is labeled organic, conventional, genetically modified, engineered, or irradiated?
I always wanted to know that.
I'm not going to answer that today because I could do an entire workshop, an entire show on each one of these questions.
Oh my God.
Just to give you a sense,
Okay.
Does it really matter if pesticides are used? Can they simply be washed off? Is there any difference between cows that are fed growth hormones or produce milk than cows that aren't? And does it really matter if the burger I eat that came from a cow that was fed antibiotics? Is there any harm to any of these practices, or is science actually creating a better product for us as a consumer? And these are real, genuine questions that when we walk into a store and we want to do better, that I don't know. And that's what I help to answer, as well as many other aspects.
And but you can't tell. You do this on a one-on-one basis. You can't tell our audience about what it does to.
Well, I can tell you the program that I do,
Yes.
which is I do one-on-one and indirectly or live online.
Okay.
And I will see the client once to twice a month to do a check-in and to talk to them about how they're making progression. It's a 6-month program. For the most part. Many people continue on. And during that time, I also send them articles and check in with phone calls. But the one-on-one session really is the amazing part, because this is where I can see body language and things come up in conversations that you wouldn't think would come up.
Right.
Because when we talk, it's just like socializing with your friend, and that's how I am with my clients. But I do so in a way that's also informative and educational when they need that input as well. But I want to talk to you about how we curb this thing called emotional eating.
That would be wonderful if you could. So how do we?
So one of our most, when we think about the word intimate relationships, something that come to mind is our spouse, our parents, but there's actually a relationship that's even more intimate than that, and that's our relationship with food. Because it's something that we have been doing since the day we were born, and it's a relationship that we have that we tender every single day. So this intimate relationship is something that every food that we eat, it becomes us. It's not just something we do, a fuel for our body. It's actually part of us. It affects our emotions. It affects our habits, our energy level. It even helps us to choose the people we associate with, and even the career that we decide to be in.
Really?
And with the problem that we have with this is the abundance we have of food is something that's always going to be an emotional choice for us. Now, when I use the word emotional eating, however, that's a term or expression to talk about how we have a lack of control of food. It's emotional eating.
Yeah.
And America simply is in a crisis. We are either eating too much, we're eating too little, we're eating the wrong food, we're eating not enough of the right food. And we have lost complete touch with our intuitive understanding, our body rhythms, and more people, unfortunately, are becoming sick today than ever before.
But what you mentioned about our bodies, I mean, that's why this whole holistic thing is so good, because it does teach you how to heal yourself and how to know your body better. So it's great body work. So I'm sorry, I interrupted
Yeah, no,
you.
very true. And that's what we need to curb our emotional eating, is understanding something that I'm going to talk to you and share with your viewers right now, and that's called primary foods. Have you ever heard that term before?
I've heard the term, but that's
Okay.
all I've heard about.
So before we get to that, I'm going to introduce you to the primary food, which is everything that fuels us beyond the plate. So as a holistic health counselor, I am not going to talk about food. I'm going to talk about everything else. And to give you an example of primary food, when you're with your loved one, in the most amazing time, you're focused, the energy, the love, this is feeding us. This is what fills us. We're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to go eat some ice cream.
Right.
Or when you were a child
Yeah.
and you were outside playing and your mom calls you in, come home for dinner, Mom! You are so focused and enjoying that moment. There's no desire to put food in this way because you're plenishing your heart. And another circumstance is if you're in a project like this work you do here, this is something that you enjoy and it's feeding you, it's nourishing you. Well, that's primary food, and I'm going to show you this, which is called what I call a balancing exercise. It's a wheel, and I'll show it here. So it has words like in home environment, relationships, social life, joy, health, career, creativity, finance, education, spirituality. These are all aspects of ourself. And in primary food, what we would do is put we would say in home environment, how on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we? Where are we? And if, say, we're in the middle on all of them, then we would draw a circle around the middle. And that would give you a visual representation of where your primary food is coming from. Now, if a person finds that their joy level is down here or their health is down here, they're going to see that that's a weak area in their life, and we can concentrate and focus and figure out how to bring that back, how to bring that strength.
So through food and through eating, people can change their emotional outlook.
When we are depressed or have low self-esteem, our primary food is what we're starving for. So no matter how much we eat, because that's where overeating comes into play, no matter how much we eat, we're never going to feel satisfied. And so feeding ourselves on a primary level with primary food, with that balance, secondary food, meaning real food, it's not as important. I have studied over 100 different dietary models and theories from both Eastern and Western practices. Now, I personally have a background. I'm actually a techie geek. Before I was that, I'm a researcher. I'm an analytical researcher. So I'm a scrutinizing person when it comes to information. But part of this is I read obsessively. So for me, I enjoy bringing all this together. But I don't. When I bring it to my client, it's a gentle way, and it's information without being a lecturer.
Yes.
Because that's not my role. My role is to have it the other way around. I listen and I hear and I feel, because although I am a researcher, I'm actually very kinesthetic. So I feel and I sense emotion, and that's my job, is to simply help the client figure out where in this they need to work. So we've got the primary food. Now let's talk about the secondary food.
Okay.
What is it we're supposed to be doing? Well, in a nutshell, more fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and whole grains. Now I can say that, but we know that the standard American diet, or the SAD diet, doesn't necessarily include all those things. And even for myself, most of us are born with this standard American diet. So we actually have to go out of our way to learn and educate ourselves. And again, remember, that's where that confusion came in. Now, part of what I do is I make things simple, because our bodies are intuitively wanting to be healthy. They don't, when we're doing something, fueling ourselves or over-fueling ourselves, our body knows that that's not right. It's intuitive. And I help my clients understand that. Now, what I call it is, when you feel optimal, when you feel perfect, I call it the homeostatic state. I mean, that's a term I've coined.
That is a very nice phrase.
Thank you. I've coined that myself. And another workshop, another talk, I can go completely into that. But here's what happens. If we are not in that homeostatic state, the reason we're not is because life happens. Stress happens from our loved ones, from our work, from the news. All these things impact us. And we use food to escape. Now, you know, we use foods for numbing ourselves or for agitating ourselves or stimulating ourselves.
Right, self-medicating.
It is literally, food is a drug.
Yes.
And what I help people do is use food, but as a beautiful thing, as part of the primary food, and it's secondary to this, and help people bring them back to that homeostatic state. There's techniques that I can show you to help us curb our emotional eating.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I've actually brought a basket of goodies, and I'm going to bring them out right now.
My favorite fruit in the world.
And
Ginger, another favorite fruit.
so I will set them here.
So far, I'm doing very
And-
well.
I'm not selling it or anything. Apple cider vinegar. And very simply,
Aha.
although plastic is not the best idea, but for purposes of this. So, a wonderful thing to do first thing in the morning. Some water. Well, I didn't cut it. Some lemon, if you want to put a little ginger, even cayenne, and one little capful of apple cider vinegar. Now, what this does, apple cider vinegar is a wonderful, wonderful product for the body. It has acetic acid, I think I'm ACEOLA, C, and it helps to allow your body to absorb minerals that are locked in food that you might not have been able to collect otherwise. So first thing in the morning, you're actually eating, when you eat breakfast, you're going to be assimilating more of your breakfast by having a little apple cider vinegar. The lemon is also stimulating and cleans up the bacteria, and the ginger is just a wonderful, wonderful soothing aid for the whole digestive system. So it's a great way to start your morning.
It sounds wonderful.
And water in itself is one of the best things and the best gifts that one could give their body, because water is life. When it comes to water, the color of urine, if it's a little too yellow and you're not on vitamin C or anything else that would stimulate the color, if it's darker colored, you're needing more water. And a lot of people confuse eating with thirst. It's a big.
Yes, I've heard that. I mean, or if you're thirsty, you go to eat something to get the moisture instead of just drinking some water.
So a way to trick yourself is by drinking a big glass of water before you eat anything. It fulfills that water need, and then you'll eat breakfast and enjoy breakfast, and know that you've at least had that one glass.
Right.
And then later on, if you repeat the pattern, have a glass between each meal. By the end of the day, when you'll have some more liquid as well, by the end of the day, you'll have all that your body needs to accomplish. And if you're at an office job, this is just, you can make your own. It's just a thing with some circles on it. But taking a little box, putting a glass of water at your office right on your table, and moving it out, drink your water, set it down on the next one, drink your water, fill it up, and by the end of the day, this has 8 cups of water on it.
Oh, wow.
So simple reminders. This is, you can make your own.
Yes.
I want to tell you a story.
Okay.
Actually, first, I want to share with you this. This is something that's followed me throughout my life, and I learned about it maybe when I was 12 years old, that really affected me, because diet and the way that we express ourselves, it's mainly out of either fear of wanting to be our best, to really accept that we truly can be that, or it's fear of not being where we are. And I like to think of it as being on a trapeze. So I'm holding onto the reins here, and in order for me to move to the next trapeze, I would have to let go of where I am, and I would have to be in this uncomfortable position. And I help people to understand that that's okay, because that's growth, that's movement, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place to be. And this is a poem by Nelson Mandela as an inaugural speech, and it's something about how we, it's we are allowed to be our best version of ourselves. And I'm actually going to give you, because we don't get this every day, I'm going to give you and your viewers permission right now. I give you permission to be the most amazing version of yourself. You are allowed to, you are free to be that because you deserve it.
This is a great affirmation.
And the poem, of course, and the poem is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous, right?
Right.
Who am I? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You are plain small, does not serve this world, and there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine. As children do, we are born to manifest the glory that we are, that is within us, and it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And we will if we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give people permission, other people, to do the same. We are liberated from our fear. Our presence automatically liberates others. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful.
And so
Thank you so much for sharing that with
Of
us
course.
and our viewers.
And so every client I have, it's a poems. There's always poetry, there's quotes. So this is I am so honored as a gift to be able to share this with people because they are unique and special. Every single person that comes to me is a beautiful entity. And with that, I beholden into them of respect, and whatever their needs are, that's what I work with, not what my own needs are. And that's what myself and other holistic health counselors do. So it's a wonderful gift that we did, and I'm so thankful of this particular kind of job.
Right. And I'm so glad that you were able to, move into something that obviously fits your personality so well.
Thank you.
And
I want to give you one little story, and this is a fun one.
Yes.
For our last few minutes. So it's called The Fisherman. So there was a fisherman, he sitting on the beach, and he stuck his pole into the sand, and he lied back enjoying the sunset. And so by chance, an investment banker lady was walking by, and from the stress of her own job was paying attention to him and said, you're not going to catch many fish that way. And he's smiling and says, well, what would I do otherwise? Well, why aren't you working for your family? If you got some nets, then you would be able to support your family better. He said, and what would be my reward if I were to get more nets? I said, well, then if you get more nets, then you could get more fish, and if you get more fish, then you could get a boat. And then he said, and what would my reward be from that? Well, if you got a boat, then you'd be able to hire some employees who would be able to do the work for you. And then he said, with a smile, well, what would be my reward from that? Well,
great question.
So now the investment banker is quite irritated and said, well, then you could get a whole fleet of boats, and then you could travel the world and then hire everybody to do everything. And then the fisherman with a still smile, and what would be my reward from that? And then completely flustered, the investment banker finally said, then you wouldn't have to work anymore. You would have so much money that you could do whatever you want and stay in the sun and admire the sunset. And the fisherman said, with a big smile, and what do you think I'm doing right now? So you see, Kate, living in the moment, being one and accepting that we are allowed to be beautiful and allowed to enjoy this earth. It is a pleasure to be here, and I thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming, and what a great takeaway for the audience. You know that. But, and we have to have you on some more and find out more about this primary eating wheel.
Thank you so much.
And so thank you so much, and want to Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on Kate's Holistic Healing.